like I do right now. Don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome back. We've got some more NA console in our CGL Season 12 playoffs. We've got Lunaris and BlackOnJohn here tonight, and I'm joined by To Try Hard Ray. How you feeling tonight, Ray?
Feeling pretty good. Been watching some World Cup today, so I'm already in that mindset to be casting. So very excited to get this matchup between Lunaris and BlackOnJohn, as both these teams trying to continue to keep their playoff hopes alive in the NA console open bracket.
Yeah, this is an elimination game. If y'all didn't know, this is going to be the bottom tier, or not the bottom tier, but this is a losers bracket game. These two teams, have made a bit of a run through the lower bracket, but now one of them has to go home. And it sucks to see, but someone's got to win this whole tournament and send everybody to the bed. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen here. Is this tournament is getting down to the best of the best teams are going and clashing to see who is going to get that prize money at the end.
Could not agree with you more. I think we're coming down to the final last 2 or 3 weeks of the season. This is round 3, and I believe the max was 6 weeks worth for some of the bigger brackets. So very excited to see how these brackets are going to start wrapping up, as both teams, again, like we mentioned, win or go home. If you lose here, you're out. That's it. And the other, like we mentioned, both teams have made a decent run in the lower bracket. We're all the way in round 3, but can they continue this momentum they've built? Have they figured out this new meta we're in? And with the changes that just came in, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, so we're getting a look here at our lineups. Lunaris has a Witty Weeb and Ruby on the DPS, Charisma on the tank, and Kermie. My brain is faltering at the moment. Kermie and Hoggy to Wiz on the support line. So a pretty good team. Lunaris, they went, I believe it was 6-2 during the regular season. And so, both of these teams, they're no slouches. Let's get a look at BlackOnJohn's starting roster, as it'll be Zyref and Pyro on the DPS, Raw Dogger on the tank, Kylo and Zurito on the support line. And this team also had a winning record in the regular season, going 5-3. So two, middle of the pack teams, but still, not any teams that you want to take lightly.
Could not agree with you more. So two evenly matched teams trying to go at it back to back in the losers bracket. It's all going to come down to these map picks, and Lunaris having the higher record. I believe they got first map pick, and I believe we had that in. Correct me wrong. Yeah. So yeah, it is going to be Antarctic Peninsula for that first map pick.
Yeah, so I'm definitely thinking, Rush is probably going to be the pick. I believe it was Lunaris. The higher seed has the map pick here. So I'm assuming that they want to go to a more Rush style comp.
Yeah, I think especially if you get to Icebreaker and Labs, those maps are very rush oriented. The question for me is, especially with this new meta we're in, the Diva actually got a pretty good buff to the speed while you're shooting your primary fire, and then like the rate at which you fire your micro missiles. So I think Diva is extremely viable now with the changes she got. Do we see that, especially if we go to sub levels?
I do not know, but we're getting in here. I haven't gotten to watch either of these teams play, but I did look at the previous the regular season schedule. This is a rematch of week 8 of the regular season, where Lunaris came out on top of BlackOnJohn 3-1. So BlackOnJohn may be here gonna get the better of Lunaris, or at least try to anyway, get some revenge for the end of the season. But as we get into what the teams are going to run, it looks like both of these teams want to run a Sigma poke style. Both with the Sojourn, but the Sombra and the May are interested.
Okay, yeah, it's no surprises there for BlackOnJohn. The May and the Sojourn's an iteration we've seen where the May is there to help win the frontline battle against the enemy Sigma, so to try and help keep Charisma at bay, and then you allow Pyro to take those off angles and look for those rail shots. Lunaris will be going with the Genji Sojourn, so I think the one thing you're going to struggle with if you're Lunaris is trying to win this upfront battle with the enemy Sigma of Raw Digger. So you're then going to have to hope that you can take out the enemy backline, because it's going to be tough sledding trying to take down the Sigma.
Ooh, and Witty Weeb dashing in, but that Ice Beam from the side of Zyref is going to be a little bit too much. Gonna get out with their life, though, which is, good enough for the moment. A lot of damage being dealt on it to Charisma at the moment. The grasp is out for Raw Dogger, and it'll be BlackOnJohn getting this first flip here. But nobody's gone down just yet from either side, as BlackOnJohn opts to walk around, take this high ground back. But Charisma was one step ahead and is already on the other side in the face of BlackOnJohn, just trying to throw these orbs in, trying to deal some damage so that somebody might go down. Finally, Ruby's able to slide out, keep their life for a little while longer. But, I mean, the never-ending fight continues to never end. Witty Weeb has no dash, and finally it'll be Zyref that finds the pick onto Witty Weeb, but it'll be traded out. Charisma taking down Pyro. The wall for Zyref not going to be good enough to cut Charisma off. So the Sigma's going to stay alive here. Zarita popping the amplification matrix, as will Huggy to whiz as this fight keeps going, but Raw Dogger goes down. So Lunaris is going to take the fight after 50%.
Yes. BlackOnJohn's going to look to live to fight another day. They do get an exit pick onto Zarita, which is going to buy an extra bit of percentage. But the good thing for Lunaris is all they had to commit to that fight to flip it was the amp matrix, and you were able to get Zarita to use that as well. So you have a real good chance to start getting some good percentage with these ultimates coming in. The good thing is you're going to have a Blizzard and an Overclock. If I'm Ruby, use this Overclock, force out that sound barrier, and set up Witty Weeb for a big blade.
Well, the fluxes come out from Charisma. The beat in response from Kylo. Now both fluxes no longer in play here. A lot of damage put onto Charisma, but Kermi also responds with the sound barrier. Pyro has a railgun ready to go, and the Blizzard has come out from Zyref, and it'll freeze Charisma, but will go down there, unfortunately, for the side of Lunaris. And with that, BlackOnJohn look to take this flip back and take the lead back.
as it's a quick flip and an expensive fight for a BlackOnJohn, so you're only going to have that overclock going forward. You might be able to build up to that amp matrix. The good thing is you were able to force Lunaris to trade a lot of their picks. So Witty Weeb, they're really looking at him to make a play here. Without a sound barrier on the field for BlackOnJohn, he has a chance to come up as a big hero for Lunaris.
Oh, and here's the Dragon Blade, able to cut down Zarita. The grass cannot protect you from the Dragon Blade as Witty Weeb cuts down 2 on the side of BlackOnJohn. Pyro all alone on the point, just trying to get that extra couple of percentage, and that will be Lunaris taking it back. A big blade from Witty Weeb.
As if you're BlackOnJohn, you got this to 1 fight territory, as you'll be able to use this amp matrix to match the amp matrix from Lunaris. So you're gonna have that coming into this fight, and then Raw Dogger should be getting this flux.
And the window's going to come out early from Zarita. They're going to push Lunaris back off the high ground, and Pyro is going to be able to consolidate on top of Ruby, who had no chance of getting out alive there, as the Amp Matrix also going to come out from Lunaris after Zarita's has faded away. Right now, Lunaris still down. Ruby has switched over to the Soldier 76. Those legs to get back on it into the fight a lot faster. Charisma goes down, so Lunaris has a big hill to climb here, as BlackOnJohn is at almost 90%. Lunaris, gonna back up here, try and take one last fight.
One last shot, one last opportunity for them to try and make something happen. They are going to have a sound barrier, but so many ults for BlackOnJohn, and they've lost Witty Weeb.
Witty Weeb blown up with a rock to the face. The flux gonna come out. There will be no touching for Charisma until, hits the ground. But, not going to be much of an opportunity to stay alive, even with Hoggy the Wiz on the heels. It's still, I believe, Witty Weeb being annoying, but not going to be able to get the last touch, not going to be able to take the fight, and BlackOnJohn takes the point.
An extremely close map from both of these teams. And I think this is what we're going to expect from the series going forward. Like you mentioned, Lunaris won the previous matchup 3-1. So it's not like it was some kind of curb stomp. And both of these teams, very similar records, 7-2 versus 6-3. So these teams are going to be extremely close, extremely competitive. So buckle in, folks. I think we're going to be in for a long series.
Yeah, a little bit of a change coming out from both sides now, though. I guess for Lunaris, we're going to see the Bastion Sojourn here for the side of Lunaris, and BlackOnJohn, they're pretty happy with the outcome of that first map here on Icebreaker. They're not going to change anything, as we're going to get into this first fight on the back side of the boat. BlackOnJohn is able to open it up. Pyro with a headshot on to Ruby. The shield's going to block the accretion for the side of Raw Dogger, and taking a bit of damage from Hoggy on this off angle. Not going to be reliable. Not going to be able to find that pick on to Raw Dogger, but Pyro did go down. So BlackOnJohn is going to get the flip. Lunaris was able to find a pick, but it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, Pyro getting that opening pick in the fight, regardless of him getting picked by Witty Weeb later on. They were able to get Ruby down, which was all of that damage from the Basher. So you take that off the field. BlackOnJohn's able to win that point extremely quickly. As we see Witty Weeb now going over to the Mei, trying to help give that extra help to their Sigma in the battle up against Raw Dogger.
And Ruby stuck in a scrum there in front of the ice wall, the box over there. Just too much damage and not enough help for the Bastion. Gonna switch over to the Sojourn now, as BlackOnJohn continues to keep their grip strong on the point.
In the blink of an eye, we are now in a mirror between these two teams. Lunaris has seen the power of this composition, and they have picked off Pyro. This is their opportunity to get back into this fight and start getting some progress in their favor.
And the sound barrier is going to come out from Kylo. They don't want to give this fight up, and the Blizzard going to be good for Charisma at the very least. Hoggy not able to get the Immortality field off to keep themselves alive, and shoved out of the Blizzard is Raw Dogger. So, you can barely see the amount that Lunaris barely didn't cap by. But a very, very clutch fight, and they've only got one more if Lunaris wants to keep this map alive.
Yeah, one last chance. You're going to have this Flux sound barrier. Ruby could build up to an overclock in this fight, but I'm seeing Raw Dogger and Pyro. They have a chance to slam the door in Lunaris' face and say, we are here for revenge. Can they come through?
Here is the start of this fight for Raw Dogger. The Flux going to come out, hits a couple. The Ice Block going to defend from the accretion from Raw Dogger. Now the Flux from Charisma. What can they find here? Immortality Field's going to keep the team alive, but Ruby is able to pick off Pyro early. A great pick to open this up, and now Lunaris is pushing their agenda here, taking the flip, but Zyref's able to take down Kermie late.
This is going to be an uphill battle for Lunaris. BlackOnJohn got it all the way to 99%, and they're coming back, Fletch, with an Ant Matrix and a Blizzard. If they can get in here, get aggressive with these two ultimates, it might all but be over for BlackOnJohn.
Here we go. The rotation through the low part of the map there onto the boat immediately as the Ant Matrix comes out from Zarita. BlackOnJohn gets the flip. Lunaris is scared to peek the window. And you know what? I don't blame them. Now the Blizzard comes out, and I don't think it's going to freeze anybody, unfortunately, for the side of BlackOnJohn, though the flip was pretty good. So this is denying a lot of percentage that Lunaris could potentially be getting. The Blizzard not going to be good enough for BlackOnJohn. They're going to allow Lunaris to take the flip back, but they're going to get aggressive once again with Kylo's sound barrier. Witty Weave now has their own Blizzard. Will go down, and Raw Dogger gets frozen up, but the Immortality Field is good enough, and they're able to keep Raw Dogger alive. Hoggy Doos is able to take down Zyref, but Raw Dogger's Flux squishes Charisma, and BlackOnJohn is going to take Antarctic Peninsula.
Wow, that was so close, Fletch, to being absolutely devastating for BlackOnJohn. For them to use that sound barrier aggressively when they knew Lunaris had the Blizzard, they got just enough picks. They got one or two players out just before the Blizzard froze them all to where Lunaris could not take advantage of the incredible Blizzard that was thrown onto the field, and then BlackOnJohn is able to clean it up. So BlackOnJohn is definitely walking on a tightrope, but they've been doing it masterfully so far.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier. Like, they lost the last time they played Lunaris. So, it's always scary when you're playing somebody that has a chip on your shoulder, right? Especially when that wound is so recent. That loss only happened a couple of weeks ago, during the very last week of the regular season. So not only are these teams playing for an elimination spot, BlackOnJohn, like I said, has that chip and is trying to swing back at Lunaris to avenge themselves. And they did it perfectly there with, the Sigma looked great, the Sojourn, everything that BlackOnJohn did looked great on Antarctic Peninsula. And, Lunaris had their moments, but when it came to the clutch fights, BlackOnJohn just outclassed them every single time.
Could not agree with you more, as that's got to be a great confidence boot for BlackOnJohn to have lost to this team, come in and take a convincing first map, when, keep in mind, this will be a 1st to 3 for both of these teams. So Lunaris pressure now mounts on their side. Going down 2-0 is not going to be what the doctor ordered for them. So you got to really hope you could turn this around, because reverse sweeps are not easy to come by.
No, they are not. And, Lunaris had their map pick. It's going to be King's Row. So, I'm kind of expecting to see the Sigma again. Just because even with the recent nerfs that, some of the heroes that play with Sigma received, it just wasn't enough. And Sigma is still, I think, far and away the best tank at the moment. So that's kind of what I'm expecting to see, is Lunaris did come out on the Sigma on Antarctic Peninsula. But, who knows? King's Row is pretty popular for being able to run more traditional rush comps, so I guess we'll see.
Only time will tell as we start getting an early look at specifically this defense coming out from Lunaris. Continue to play the Sig with the May Sojourn. So taking a book out of BlackOnJohn's book. Witty Weeb this time going to hopefully be able to take those off angles, while Ruby on the May can help in that frontline battle against Raw Dogger. The question is, BlackOnJohn won that previous map playing this composition. Can Lunaris match them in the skill that they have displayed on this composition? For BlackOnJohn, seems like Pyro is going to take just a quick little pot shot on the Widow, and I expect them to swap over to the May right after that. So we should be in full mirrors.
Pyro, was gonna take a shot, but took a shot instead, an icicle right to the forehead, and it won't be the May, it will be the Bastion for BlackOnJohn here. So a little bit of a subversion of expectations for the side of BlackOnJohn. Pyro receives a rock to the body. Not gonna, deter much on the push through this high ground. Was that Kermi that threw Raw Dogger to the dirt? It was Kermi on that high ground, and a great pick from Witty Weeb is going to put Lunaris in a good position to take this fight, and a great wall from Ruby will put Raw Dogger down, and Lunaris already off to a pretty good start here.
Yeah, it seems like you have awoken the beast if you are BlackOnJohn. Lunaris coming back in stride as Pyro on the Widow trying to find that pick, but that's what you're relying on if you're playing Widow, is you're not going to have a lot of consistent damage in these fights. Your goal is to find a quick and easy pick and set your team up.
And here we go. Pyro on this high ground is going to take down Ruby. A great early pick for the side of BlackOnJohn. The May no longer to control that space, and then some great peel from Kylo actually, as Kermi tried to dive on top of Pyro and is still trying to find the pick, but just can't do it. And it's just well, I was gonna say it was Hoggy DeWiz, but as Charisma was the last one to fall, BlackOnJohn takes the point pretty convincingly.
It didn't take them too long, all things considered. It took them just under a minute, so not a dominating attack, but they get the job done. As we now move to this point B attack for BlackOnJohn, they use those sights, so it forces Lunaris to definitely have to play back and regroup. Which they were planning to do, but they just had to play a little bit further back. And you'll be having Raw Dogger coming into this fight. You're going to have the Flux online, but look at Lunaris. Both their DPS ultimates are just around the corner.
And here is the Flux from Raw Dogger. Gonna hit a couple. The Immortality Field is good, but what's even better is the Blizzard from Ruby, taking out a 3. And Lunaris defense holds strong.
Not much you can do there when Ruby has a Blizzard and the entirety of your team has not built up to that sound barrier for Kylo. As we see Ruby now going to make a swap over to the Tracer to try and get back faster. I like the idea, but I think it might, not having that May with those walls and just all that damage might be a mistake for these subsequent fights.
Here's the Flux and Kylo Ajaxes. Ajax for Kylo and Witty Weeb with 2. A great play by the Sojourn. 3 for Witty Weeb. Can they make it 4? Nah, Kermi's gonna take it, but an incredible play nonetheless.
Yeah, that Flux coming out from Charisma to keep Kylo in the air while that beat was still trying to hit the ground, and you're able to come out and get the Ajax. So well played by both players from Lunaris. Now if you're BlackOnJohn, Zyref gets to come in this next fight. They're going to have the overclock, but Kermi has the sound barrier, but they're already down there. Baptiste.
Pyro with a perfect first pick here on this attack, as the overclock is going to come out from the Zyref. And oof, the damage not quite there to take it down Witty Weeb, but 2 for Zyref is going to be a great answer to Witty Weeb in the last fight. Oh, and Ruby's stuck back here.
Yeah, they're trying to get this stagger onto Ruby, and if they do, this attack could all but be over for this point B, as Lunaris could look to touch, but I feel like with down your Tracer, there is no reason to do such things, as that's going to be point B for BlackOnJohn. They're going to be able to take space, take this corner, and they might be able to buy themselves some more space, Fletch, because they're going to have an Ant Matrix they can drop.
Yeah, and Ruby switching once again, a little bit of musical chairs for the DPS player on Lunaris, switching over to the Ashe, trying to get a little bit longer range here. You know, some supplemental damage with that dynamite. Witty Weave has a railgun charged up, and out comes the Amp Matrix from the side of BlackOnJohn. Charisma is so low, and Zyrif is able to put it the railgun into the chest of Charisma before that flux came down. And I mean, everybody on the side of BlackOnJohn is taking so much damage, but Ruby on the off angle is taken down too here. They're gonna send Kylo after the Ashe here, and it's not gonna be enough, so BlackOnJohn has to get out, but they are able to take down Ruby.
Yeah, you do get Ruby, and you're going to have a lot of ultimates coming in this next fight. So if you're BlackOnJohn, you do not even need to back out just yet. Ant Matrix is going to come out. That'll force you back.
Yeah, I mean, a great rock to stop the suck for the side of Raw Dogger, and I mean, a great flux that would have killed Charisma. Well, down goes Charisma anyway. As the overclock comes out, Witty Weave trying to find the same value that they got in the last one. Cannot, unfortunately. And that should be BlackOnJohn completing King's Row. You know, a great start for Lunaris in the first fight and a half or so. But after that, BlackOnJohn just had their number.
And the best part for Lunaris is because you got over a minute on the clock. Even if you can bring this to overtime, but you still let the cap come in for Lunaris, you put yourself in a win or draw situation. So that time bank, very favorable for them going forward, as now the pressure continues to mount. It felt like, you know, we had a small little pile of leaves on their side. It is the fall, so my analogy is going to be using leaves. Like, you know, I just went through the yard a little bit, and I you know, raked up a few of the leaves. But now that, you know, you got this massive time bank for BlackOnJohn, it's like the end of the fall season. We've reached the end, and I did not finish my raking. Now all the leaves are in the pile now. That pressure is just ginormous, because like we mentioned, going down 2-0, you just can't. You cannot.
I mean, yeah, 2 minutes is a very, very long time to have in the time bank after the completion of King's Row. But you know, Lunaris, it's once again what I saw on Antarctic Peninsula, right? Whenever it came to those clutch fights, it just felt like BlackOnJohn was snapping into action and taking advantage of the mistakes that Lunaris was making, and something that Lunaris isn't really doing. You know, they've made a couple of great hero plays, some good blizzards, some nice shots from Witty Weave, but they can't string those plays together as we get into the attack for Lunaris. Ruby now on the Widowmaker here on the attack. Charisma rotating around to the high ground. Lunaris doing exactly what BlackOnJohn did on their attack. Ruby on this off angle, shooting through the hotel, but Pyro is not having any of it. Gonna be a great pick onto the Widowmaker, a 5v4 coming into this fight. Lunaris may just want to wait up on this high ground while they wait for Ruby to come back.
Able to find that headshot Pyro time and time again. That's just a big buff for May, who can be much more of a close quarters as the rock comes in, but they still found Witty Weave.
I didn't even notice that BlackOnJohn had gotten up onto the high ground. Hoggy DeWiz is very, very low, had to drop to the ground. And the defense, you know, these long rotations, only one fight's been taken, and there's already more than a minute off the clock here.
Yeah, BlackOnJohn is doing a great job of just wasting time, rotating to meet Lunaris in very good spots, as we see Ruby now going to swap over to the May, which once again is going to help out Charisma in this Sigma duel as Witty Weave gets closer and closer to that overclock.
Witty Weave trying to find a pick here. What can they do? Not going to find a shot with the railgun just yet. Immortality Field out from Hoggy the Wiz. That is a crucial thing to get out for BlackOnJohn to win this fight. As the window also came out, Pyro took a shot, it looked like. But some great support from Zarita is able to keep the Mei alive. And, you know, the PL for Pyro right now is ridiculous. There's a couple of times Pyro should have died. But BlackOnJohn refuses to let their Mei player die. As BlackOnJohn, you know, allowed the 2 picks on the point, but the re-engage with the sound barrier is good to keep the fight alive for right now. But as the overclock comes out for Witty Weeb, Lunaris is pushing BlackOnJohn back into B, and they're gonna capture A.
That was about half your time taken off of the clock for Lunaris. So you're still in a good position to try and match this time bank from BlackOnJohn. But I think the real issue is how fast can you get this point B? Point B can be very synonymous for defenses just wasting time. If you're Lunaris, you cannot allow that to happen. You got to be decisive. You got to be quick, and you got to get a stranglehold on this time bank. And you have a great tool in this Blizzard, especially with no sound barrier for defensive purposes for BlackOnJohn.
And Pyro switched it back over to the Widowmaker, so obviously pretty confident in that headshot ability. As the Flux is going to come out, it's going to hit a couple from the side of Lunaris, but no picks for BlackOnJohn just yet, as Zyref is behind them, and I mean, Charisma's able to take down Zarita early, so this fight has already been blown wide open for the side of BlackOnJohn. Pyro being harassed in the pub, and Ruby with a couple of picks there to clean up the fight, and Lunaris probably will capture B here.
As things go from great to fantastic for Lunaris, being able to get full advantage of that Blizzard and able to take full advantage. They get point B, 4 minutes on the clock. BlackOnJohn is now reeling as they need to find a way to dig their heels in and waste some time on this defense. Pyro on the Widow has not been able to find those picks that we saw on the point A attack.
And Ruby has switched to match, by the way. So this is an ego duel. I guess we'll see which of these Widowmakers is going to find the most value here, as Pyro has to back up a little bit, not going to be able to take the aggressive angle that they want to at the moment. A slide from Zyref's not going to quite get them onto that high ground, but it'll be Pyro with a great early pick onto Kermi. So without that Lucio, Lunaris is going to have to back up. They don't have that speed to re-engage quickly, as BlackOnJohn is more than happy to play into that lack of aggression, as they're able to take down Ruby and Charisma late.
Pyro coming through. I made the call saying we need to see this again, and he comes through and delivers. As BlackOnJohn, I said they needed to dig their heels. They do. Now they have 4 ultimates to continue to hold here. So Lunaris is going to have to be extremely careful of this Flux incoming that can force out the sound barrier. And then once that's gone, Zyref has an ability to go crazy with the overclock, but you might not need it. Kermi's down.
Kermi's down, and that means they don't have the sound barrier if they want to use it. Charisma is in no man's land. The Immortality Field comes through, and Ruby also coming through, but Pyro is able to take down Charisma. The Immortality Field was great from Hoggy the Wiz, but it's not enough to keep Charisma alive.
And you cannot push without your Sigma, especially when BlackOnJohn still has theirs on the field. So that just takes all the momentum you were just building for Lunaris. But they have a War's Chest full of ultimates. First comes the sights.
And here's the Flux from Raw Dogger, and Pyro! Kermi's sound barrier came through, but Pyro's able to headshot Ruby, putting the enemy Widowmaker in the dirt, and Pyro's coming alive with a second. Witty Weeb has popped their overclock as well, and Zyref just doesn't care. Through the window, through adversity, Zyref takes down Witty Weeb, and there's only a minute 45, but Ruby is, coming alive in their own right.
That they are, but the damage has been done, as now we see Charisma going over to the Diva. I talked about possibly seeing this as Pyro gets Ruby. Disgusting.
Great shot from Pyro. Pyro becoming the game changer that BlackOnJohn wanted to see when they switched to the Widowmaker. Absolutely dominant performance here on point C of the King's Row defense. The Diva for Charisma coming out now. Can they find any value now in this last 90 or 60 seconds, that is, as Ruby is so low, has to back out. Not going to be able to find a pick here. Ruby trying their damnedest and almost gonna find it. Ruby takes down Pyro. So this Widowmaker duel is back and forth this entire point. Pyro goes down, losing one. You know, Pyro has had the better of the duel for the most part, but switching over to the Sombra now. You know, as the distance closes to that golden box of victory, Pyro tries to put some a little bit of hurt onto the backline of Lunaris, but Zyref through the Amp Matrix is gonna take down Kermie, and the aggression from BlackOnJohn is simply unstoppable. Only 15 seconds remain, and Rawdogger has one of the ultimate stalling tools here.
You should be able to get a touch if you're Lunaris, but now you're in a situation where you're in a lose or draw situation. But Lunaris, you got to finish the job.
Lunaris gets the touch. Charisma on the point, though, is demeched. Rawdogger has the flux, though, and Ruby's able to take down Pyro. But Zyra makes it interesting. Kermie goes down, and the window comes out, but Rawdogger stays alive here, taking down Hoggy the Wiz. Witty Weave with the overclock. It's not enough, and BlackOnJohn takes us to match point.
2-0 statement coming out from BlackOnJohn. As we mentioned, looking for revenge from that regular season loss to Lunaris. They've come out and just made a statement. Hey Lunaris, we're here in the playoffs losers bracket, and we are here to send you home and drink in that nectar of the sweet revenge. Because you know, revenge is a dish best served cold, so that drink is nice and cold.
And speaking of cold, I mean, Pyro's got ice. Zyref's got ice. Everybody's got ice on the side of BlackOnJohn. They continue to be clutch. Like, in fights that it seems like Lunaris should be able to win, BlackOnJohn says, no, I'm not going down without a fight. And their fight always has them coming out on top. And now BlackOnJohn, they're staring at the face, you know, they're going to continue their losers bracket run if Lunaris can't find a way to become clutch themselves.
Yeah, the BlackOnJohn clutch factor is coming through. We'll be heading to a map number 3. Can Lunaris turn it around, or will BlackOnJohn be moving on and sending Lunaris home? We'll find out right after this break, so watch out. We'll be back.
All right, welcome back, everybody. And right now, Lunaris, who I feel like most people would have had as the favorite coming into this series, you know, they beat BlackOnJohn in week 8 of the regular season. They're staring down the barrel of a loaded gun right now. 2-0 down on BlackOnJohn. And right now, they're going to need something to change here as we go into map number 3. It'll be Suravasa.
Couldn't agree more. Something has to change, as if they lose this map, they are out of the playoffs and a possibility for that prize pool. BlackOnJohn, just keep what you're doing. Whatever you're doing, it is working. I mean, your off angles you're seeing from Zifrin and Pyro has just been a maniac, whether it's on the May or the Widow. You're winning that Sigma duel. There's not much to say. They have been just absolutely dominant.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we said it a few times, and I know I said it a few times, but just every time BlackOnJohn needs a play made, they make the play. Like, they've lost fights, and Lunaris has made some great plays in their own right, but they can't stack them back to back like BlackOnJohn has been able to. So because BlackOnJohn has just done what they need to do when they need to do it, you know, BlackOnJohn, they're on match point here going into map number 3, and I mean, there hasn't been any one in particular player, I feel like, on the side of Lunaris, that has been, bad, right? None of their players have been bad. They're just in the wrong place, wrong time, and they're just not able to respond to the aggression that BlackOnJohn is playing with. Like, they lost their Lucios in one of the last fights there on King's Row, and BlackOnJohn said, "You're going to back up? Well, we still have our Lucio. We have our speed boost, so we're going to run it down on you into your spawn," and I think they got 2 or 3 kills out of it. And as you see here, we're going to go to Servasa for map 3. Flashpoint, seen as sometimes a bit of a swing map. The team that's playing worse can sometimes find some momentum here on Servasa, so it'll be interesting to see what Lunaris is going to be able to bring out here.
As we do have a substitute coming in for Lunaris. Ruby will be going to the bench. Inu is coming in onto the field, so hopefully that can give some much needed momentum onto the side of Lunaris, and hopefully they can look to try and complete the reverse sweep. According to the team sheet we have, Inu's favorite and most played hero is the Widowmaker, which I'm not expecting that we're gonna see that on a map like Flashpoint, because this map is all about speed and not as much poke and patience. So being aggressive is the name of the game on Flashpoint, as we see Inu's going to play the Sojourn.
I don't think it's maybe entirely the reason, but sometimes making one simple change to even a DPS that could provide that spark that your team needs to come back and at least try to begin the reverse sweep. I've seen it happen before where a team is down 2-0, they sub someone in off the bench and they end up reverse sweeping because that person played out of their minds and gave them the opportunity. And it's going to be maybe Inu is that person as we get into this first fight here on Market. A Junker Queen mirror, a great boop on it to Pyro. Pyro's going to be able to stay alive, and Raw Dogger puts Inu down for the time being, as the fight has been broken wide open for BlackOnJohn.
BlackOnJohn played the Junker Queen composition beautifully. You do get 2 trades out for Witty Weeb, but it's not going to matter. So what BlackOnJohn basically did, they just used the commanding shout, sped past Charisma, and got on top of Inu. They're just ignoring Charisma, which I think is the very smart decision, especially when you're going to play this Genji. You want to dive and get on top of these heroes and let them finish things off. As now Lunaris rotating back, gonna have to look to do the same thing.
Zyref is able to cut Witty Weave down with a dash through the opponent's Inu, though. It's going to be an even fight here on Market as Zyref continues to impress on the Genji here. Raw Dogger and Charisma locked in a Queen duel here. Zyref going to be able to clean it up in 4 for Zyref in that fight. Oh, what a ridiculous play by the Genji.
Yeah, Zyref is running this lobby right now on the Genji. Not much else to say there. They're just fine. I mean, BlackOnJohn's doing a great job of getting these players low, and then Witty Weave's able to finish them off with those dashes, constantly get those resets. First point goes to Lunaris. Goes to BlackOnJohn. Is now we're going to rotate as we see Palace as the next point. So Lunaris is going to be able to take these defensive holds on the, getting some good RNG on the point unlock.
They're going to need it here as BlackOnJohn moving into Palace. Pyro continues to impress on the hit scan, and a bit of a 360 for the Sojourn. Another one for the Sojourn. You see that smooth circle on the controller. Pyro's so good, man. Pyro and Zyref are absolutely dominating as a DPS duo. In the series, but especially on this map right now.
As we saw Pyro taking a victory spin after that blade.
Still going.
And Kitsune Rush combination is, you're going to make yourself dizzy there, Pyro. Careful, you got to hit some more shots. As they're going to come back, lots of ultimates in their pocket, but Lunaris has been stockpiling. There's the rush.
Kitsune Rush out from Pocket to Wisdom. Raw Dogger cuts down! Witty Weave and Charisma! Overclock from Pyro, but it's more of a celebration than anything in that Kitsune Rush. Well, Pyro finds Kermie at the end, but 50% for BlackOnJohn, and the helicopter continues to fly for Pyro.
I mean, it was a very expensive fight for BlackOnJohn, so you're not going to have any ultimates going forward in these subsequent fights. Lunaris gets to come back. They got 3 in their pocket. This is their big opportunity. They just cannot throw all their ultimates in this fight. They have to be judicious. They got to throw 1 or 2 ults in this fight, get the win, and save some.
Oh, and Inu's great for staying alive right there. Has this overclock ready to go, and here it comes. Pyro's able to take down Charisma! They don't have the Rampage! 99% already, and Inu's overclock has not found the value. Kermie is so low, and Witty Weave goes it down. Inu is brought back into the fray, and Kermie and the gang, they can't get it done. Even with 3 ultimates just about before the fight started, all they got out was the overclock, and Lunaris, they're on map point. They need to reverse sweep both Stravasa and the series.
Match point for BlackOnJohn. Lunaris cannot let that happen. They just let BlackOnJohn get aggressive and find the picks. And it felt like they were waiting for Inu to find something with that overclock, and it just didn't happen. I mean, you get to come into this next fight, and sure, you'll probably win this first fight because of the ult advantage you have, but you just let that point drop for 0 reason.
And they do have the ultimates here in this fight. No, they could start it out here with a pretty aggressive play. Charisma's gonna pop the Rampage and hit a couple. 3 people on the Rampage. 4 Charisma's gonna take down Zyroth, and a great knife from Charisma is going to help take down Pyro. They're gonna be able to get this first flip here on Ruins, and you know, he was inexpensive. They didn't have to use the beat.
Yeah, this is a very, very favorable position for Lunaris to be in. I mean, you didn't get any ultimate commit from BlackOnJohn, but as you mentioned, all it cost you was that Rampage, as you'll be able to come into this next fight. You're pretty much going to be even in the ult economy, so you just got to be very careful. This Rampage could be dangerous.
And the Kitsune Rush is going to come out from both sides as the Rampage comes in for Raw Dogger. It hits 3, and Charisma's though is going to be able to answer pretty kindly there with the Axe Carnage, as the Dragon Blade from Zyroth finds 2. Can they make it 3? Onto Charisma. Charisma stays alive with the help of Hoggy Wiz. The Kiriko's able to keep this fight alive, 70% and counting for Lunaris as the overclock from Inu comes out, but Zyroth cuts down the Sojourn. The overclock is not gonna be good, and Raw Dogger with 2 to clean it up. They take the point.
That's absolutely devastating for Inu to commit that overclock in the fight only to get blown up. So now you come into this, you're just praying, crossing your fingers, hoping we can hit a good pulse bomb. You will get that Rampage online, but Kylo has the perfect answer in the form of the sound barriers. So it just makes the job of Lunaris that much more difficult.
And Pyro popping the overclock takes down Charisma. And the kite, or the backup from the side of Lunaris, is going to try to come through, but it's not going to be enough, as Pyro is showing us, hey, don't check me. I don't need a hand cam. This is a controller. I'm just that good.
One last shot and opportunity for Lunaris to turn this around and keep their season alive. Pulse Bomb and Rampage online. Can they make it happen, or will this sound barrier from Kylo be the tool that BlackOnJohn needs to send themselves to the next round?
And here's Witty Weave. Pulse Bomb comes out. The touch is good for Lunaris. And the Rampage dies! Charisma used Rampage but died out of it. And without the Junker Queen, without the Rampage, Lunaris is looking at the highest hill that they could possibly climb. Inu, though, was able to take down Pyro, but it's just not enough. I say it's not enough. I need to shut my mouth. The Rampage comes out, and that's it. BlackOnJohn takes the map, they take the series, and they take out Lunaris. Revenge is sweet for BlackOnJohn.
That ice cold nectar is tasting delicious for BlackOnJohn as they finally have done it. That is like the best feeling. Redemption is just amazing. Revenge, it's all just perfection as BlackOnJohn keeps their lower bracket lives, just keeps them alive, keeps them going. They have an opportunity to move on to round 4 and possibly get all the way to the losers finals of the lower bracket. in one of the most competitive divisions.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that as this lower bracket run continues, BlackOnJohn is somebody to look out for. I mean, it's always nice to get get back at someone, right? They wanted to finish the season. They finished, I think, 5-3 the regular season. They wanted to finish 6-2, 7-1, to get an opportunity to swing back at one of the teams that was able to take you down in the regular season. It's always nice, but oh my God, the playmakers from BlackOnJohn played ridiculously all series. But I mean, I just gotta give it up to Pyro and Xylef. I mean, the Dragon Blades, you don't usually think of a raw Dragon Blade, no Nano Boost, no Kitsune Rush. You don't usually think of it, that's an ultimate that's going to find 2 people every single time it gets pulled out. But Xylef, it's light work for Xylef, honestly. And then Pyro. I mean, I said it during the match, but, that spinning, I don't know if this is the exact reason, but it proves that guy is on a controller. He's not cheating. You might think he's cheating by the way that he locked onto people, but you can't get spins that smooth with a mouse. I mean, everybody on the side of BlackOnJohn, they came to work today, and they showed off what they can do.
It felt like clockwork. They clocked in, did their 9 to 5, and got out. It was just too easy as they move on to the next round. Shout outs to just everyone on that team. Raw Dogger was silently just insane on that Sigma and that Junker Queen. The team in general just all worked well together, and it was absolutely ridiculous, highlighting their roster one more time as they all played so well.
Yeah, and I mean, Kylo and Zorito, we didn't really bring up their names, in the shouts out, but my God, I mean, there were several times where somebody from the side of BlackOnJohn should have died. Like, namely, I'm thinking of Pyro on the point A defense on King's Row. Pyro should have died not once, but twice. But the peel from, I think the first time it was Raw Dogger with a Sigma shield, and the second time was Zorito with the regen burst, where I think Pyro got below 50 HP, but the peel was just too strong, and they couldn't get rid of the Mei. And just everybody from the side, like I said, of BlackOnJohn, they just came to work, and they just backhanded Lunaris out of the bracket entirely. So once again, congratulations to BlackOnJohn, but that will do it for us here tonight on this game. We're gonna try to get another game going tonight, but I don't have any promises on that just yet. So thank y'all all for watching. And thank you to Ray and Rhino and Orange and Joe for helping us get this game out there. And I hope you all enjoyed the match tonight. And I hope that we can see y'all in a half an hour.
Yeah, later, guys.
Carpe diem. Carpe diem.